we get another close look at Skinner's life when it is threatened by something unknown. When his symptoms seem to lead to poisoning,
the agents spring into action only to find something smaller at play. Much, much smaller.
This is not happening.
Yeah, there it is.
That's it.
So, Mike, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I can only offer you 75% of my normal contribution to the show.
That's fantastic because you're already pulling in the rear. So what, I get even less than 1%, sir?
Oh, hush you. No, for my regular 100%. It's because of the tariff.
We're
so
you perceive 25%. It as 100%. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. And because you're sending it to me,
I viewed your contribution to this show much differently.
Oh, I see. I think I see what you did there. But I guess if I am exporting to you, do you then increase it by 25%? Is that how
I do?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more jazzed than usual. Let's dive into some X-Files, man. Although I do hate these episodes a little bit more than usual.
Is 25% more than usual? Perhaps?
I'm channeling you, so I have to dislike the episodes an appropriate amount.
Is that what you think? Oh, my goodness. Well, I think we're going to turn the corner on some of the comic stylings of the X-Files that we have seen over the last
a little bit.
Just a little bit in season 6. We're going to get into it again with episode 9, season 6, SR 819, written by John Shaban, directed by our good old friend Daniel Sackheim. Do you remember what major episodes Daniel Sackheim has directed? Off the top of your head.
He was season 1 material. He was doing...
you should see Mike's face right now.
No.
It's screwed up like a lemon.
I can't remember. I know the name, and I know he's big. I can't remember the episodes. That's what it is.
Yeah, he did Pilot and Conduit.
Fair enough.
And then he did The Host. And then he did Kutsuginagari. And this is his last contribution to the show. He doesn't direct anything else. He does one in Millennium, I think season 3, but doesn't do any more X-Files. And
that's a shame.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. This is also going to be the last time we see Senator Richard Matheson. They're definitely writing him out of the show in this episode.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Unceremoniously.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they decided, but I was like, okay.
My honest opinion, and we can get into this when we get there, but I'm okay with it. I feel like he's underutilized in general. I liked his character in season 2. That's when he was introduced. And he really brought an explanation unsaid as to how Mulder's getting away with so much. Mm-hmm. He's got this friend at the Capitol. So that was cool. I think they could have done a lot more with him, but they chose to abandon him for a couple seasons and then bring him back just to abandon him again. So I don't know. Little unceremonious.
Yeah, we will get into it because I really don't like how they use him in this episode. He turns into a foil for no great reason. Like, it is not well explained. And
sudden bad guy for no reason.
Sudden bad guy. It happens sometimes in these episodes. So let us begin our conversation about SR 819. Mike, we open in a DC hospital at night. An orderly in green scrubs walking with a purpose. He connects with Dr. Cabrera. The patient is down in trauma, and they said you'd know what's wrong with him. Apparently, the patient was scheduled for therapeutic plasmapheresis, which I have Googled. It's a thing. Yeah.
It's a thing.
When he went into shock,
well pronounced.
His vitals are all bad. Low pulse, low blood pressure, and a 6 GCS, Mike. A 6 on the GCS. Quick aside, do you know what the GCS is?
That is the global convulsion system.
No.
What is it?
It is the Glasgow Coma Scale, which ranks from a 3 to 15, evaluating eye-opening, best verbal response, and best motor response. A 6, Mike. Pretty bad.
Mine sounds scarier.
I'll give you that.
The global convulsion system.
Dr. Cabrera knows all about this guy, and that an Agent Scully at the FBI should be notified, as the patient is an FBI agent. Is this patient Fox Mulder? What has he done now? When the orderly asks what's wrong with the patient, Dr. Cabrera gives a technical response. What's wrong with him is that he's going to die.
Drama!
That's right. Yeah. Well, the camera moves into the trauma room, tracking across a forearm with distended and discolored veins. This person looks terrible. As the camera reaches his face, it turns out to be A.D. Skinner, looking helplessly to the ceiling. Dr. Cabrera asks if he can hear her. He can, apparently, as he barely whispers a few words. She reveals that he said a name as Skinner begins to flatline, and the orderly begins to prep the paddles to shock Skinner, calling out for Dr. Cabrera to clear out so he can do it. But she doesn't move, standing over Skinner, telling the orderly and her career, apparently, to let him go. Credits.
Fired.
I know, right? I mean...
Fired.
What?
You don't just not try.
No, let's let him go.
He's in pain, why even... Just let him go. I have no idea what's going on, so let's just skip it. Call the time.
Just call the time. I mean, the world will be better off without one more FBI agent.
Have you seen what they investigate?
Yeah, exactly. We should say hello to a Catman who has joined us in the...
A Catman! Hello there. Welcome.
Good to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I have a few notes to raise.
Yes, please.
As I thought you might guess. So, Mike, do you recall what Skinner's heart rate, his blood pressure, was listed as from the orderly?
What was that? I do not.
It was 40. His BP is 40.
Oh, 40. Ooh,
yeah.
That is not good.
It is not good. And yet, and you might want to throw in the audio clip of the open here to sort of underline my point. His heart rate sounds pretty good on the beep beep. A little bit of
oops, a little bit of a mistake there.
I think the one hand wasn't talking to the other hand, but
right.
So there's that.
Generic hospital sounds inserted.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, there's our all-time favorite trope of bringing out the paddles to restart the heart, which
God damn
in
it.
TV land is what you do. And there's been so much disinformation on that one point that I think a lot of people have been killed as a result of this trope.
Yeah. I mean, they should be killed. But no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does not work like that. What we've got,
this is
we've
the
covered
heyday of using the defibrillator to restart a heart. Defibrillators don't do this, people. They regulate an arrhythmia. A defibrillator will stabilize an irregular heartbeat, but if it's stopped, you're looking at chest compressions and drugs. So
that's why she didn't even want to give it a go, because she'd have to exert herself. So she's like, forget this. I'm not in the mood to do chest compressions.
She was just so pissed off at the orderly for jumping in the paddles. She's like, no, just let him go. Oof.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you?
So what did Andrew, when you first saw this, what did you think was happening to Skinner?
Well, first of all, kudos to the makeup folks, because sometimes it's a miss. This one was really good. I got that those veins are pushing up out of the skin in a really nasty looking way. So,
oh yeah,
it's a bit of a bait and switch, because you're like, no way they write him out of the series. Come on. So when I first saw this, I was like, I don't believe we are actually watching him go off the series, because that feels a bit sudden. But I knew immediately after this sequence was going to happen, we would have a 6 hours earlier or 2 weeks earlier, and then tell the story up to this point, and then we'd have the critical moment, and then there would be the resolution, which, spoilers, is exactly what happens in this case. But I liked it. I thought it was good. There's a few technical things I obviously didn't like, and I to the life of me, cannot believe Dr. Carrera just decides to let him go. I mean, that is just, I still can't understand.
You know what?
That.
It's been a long night, Andrew. It's been a long night. She has no time for saving this guy's life.
The only thing I can think of is that she's in on the plot, and then she
she's
knows that he's coming back. Like the decisions that this woman is going to make with Skinner's life, she's going to cut off his arms. She is doing everything wrong until Scully shows up to correct her. So, yeah, I mean, she is my problem with the opening sequence.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Fired.
All right. What did you think of the opening sequence?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was just gooey enough, just gruesome enough. The veins on Skinner are disgusting and really uncomfortable to look at. Like you, I didn't think this was the end for him, but I was along for the ride, and it was enjoyable to watch the doctor not give a shit about this man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's continue on, shall we?
Yes.
After the credits, Skinner gives us a monologue. At least the dead body of Skinner gives us a monologue. We make choices every day which define who we are. And as he does so, the camera pulls back from his mottled face, apparently following him up to heaven. At the end, a sheet is pulled over his face. I guess Skinner's really being written out of the series. I guess it's happening.
We were wrong.
In a classic bit of mystery writing, the plot picks up 24 hours earlier at the Southside Gym where two boxers are going at it in a ring. Skinner's getting his gloves on, going into the ring himself where he shows off his stuff, laying punch after punch into his opponent. In a clutch, we see that his vision is blurry. Eventually, Dre lands right on him, which sends him to the mat, and his crunchy old trainer kneels over him as Skinner passes out.
Yeah, okay, Rock.
So he is so much channeling the coach from Rocky. It's not even funny.
Why did they do that? I mean, come on.
That's the direction that Daniel Sackheim gave this guy. Is like, okay, have you seen Rocky?
Have you seen Rocky? I want you to be this guy as much as you can be.
That's what all boxing coaches are, really. Just do that guy.
Old drunks just getting back into the game.
It's all he lives for. So Skinner wakes up to a nurse asking him if he's going to stay with him now. He blearily recalls that he took one in a boxing bout as he stirs to life. The nurse goes out to get the doctor as he stands, his cell phone ringing.
Yeah, Skinner. Hello.
Mulder, Skinner.
Who is this?
Have you heard the news? It's in you.
What is this?
You have 24 hours to go.
What is this? What do you want?
You are already dead.
Whoa.
Whoa.
A visibly disturbed Skinner sets down the phone as Dr. Plant comes in, giving him a clean bill of health and releasing him with a warning to cut out the boxing. And at least two Mike Tyson biting of ear references have been dropped so far.
Oh, boy.
So Skinner's not 20 years old anymore. He might want to ice that bruise, advises the doctor, which confuses Skinner. What bruise? The doctor shows him a painful-looking bruise on his chest under his right arm, which, frankly, I am surprised he would not feel. I mean, have you seen that bruise?
It's huge.
What bruise? Oh, I mean, that bruise.
Okay. Why am I favoring my left side? I didn't think to check.
On my left side. Well, the doctor assumes this happened during his match, and in a nice counterpoint to Skinner's phone call, the doctor reassures him that he's going to live. Did you catch that? Guy on the phone says he's going to die. Doctor says you're going to live. Little that, John Shaban, little thing there. Look at him. Well, later at that night at FBI HQ, Mulder is doing his trademark move, throwing pencils into the ceiling when he sees Skinner arrive. Apparently Mulder is bored and working the graveyard shift, so he pokes his head in and says, hey, to his Skinner, who is visibly in pain. Skinner is having trouble seeing, didn't think he should drive. He passes out on the couch. An hour later, Scully arrives, called in by Mulder, who brings Scully up to speed. Skinner is not convinced there's anything wrong. Mulder brings up the phone call using the voice scrambler, and the three go over the possibilities. Could it be related to Skinner's supervision of the X-Files? Is it about Mulder and Scully? Mulder has Skinner go over his day, trying to identify something out of the ordinary. Skinner does so. He goes through his day. He woke up. He drove to the office. He had meetings. He went to the gym, to the hospital, and now he's here. And Mulder's like, whoa, slow down. Let's go through it a little bit slower. He's coaxed through his recollection of the day by Mulder, who draws out that Skinner was stopped by a man for the time, a man wearing gloves, who took Skinner by the wrist.
Mm-hmm. I like how Skinner's resistant to this.
Yeah.
Even
He's
though
done fine. What are you talking about?
well, I think it's more than that. I think even though the agents are no longer under him right now,
Yeah.
they are taking time to make sure he's taken care of based on their history together. And he is also very much in character right now. He's very in line with who he's been so far. He wants to help them, but he's also like, you're overreacting to this. You know, he's taking the logical Skinner approach to the situation. So I just like it that he's not coming to them for help. They're insisting on it. And despite his protesting, they're able to kind of convince him to recount his day.
Well, and there's enough stuff in the events that he's described and his symptoms, frankly, that they have a right to be concerned. And they've been through enough that I think they're like, no, we're not just going to walk away here. We're going to make sure you're all right.
Right.
Well, the trio are then reviewing video surveillance from the hallway. Scully recognizes the man who stopped Skinner. This is Kenneth Orgel. Gelly, as I like to call him. He's an advisor to a Senate subcommittee on ethics and new technology and a renowned physicist. Apparently, he signed in as a visitor to see A.D. Skinner, but that was the extent of their meeting, that little meeting in the hallway. Skinner, angered, is going to track down Orgel. Jelly, as I like to call him.
The gel
Despite
man.
Scully's, the jelly man, the gelster.
Oh,
Gelster, I like that.
Let's do that.
Despite Scully's sensible advice that Skinner should get off his feet. Meanwhile, Scully is going to check at the hospital Skinner was checked into, St. Catherine's. We cut to shots of cars crossing a bridge into Maryland, and then Skinner and Mulder at the front door of a house. The gelster opens up and proceeds to blow them off. He's never met Skinner before. He wasn't at the FBI earlier today. They must be mistaken. And he closes the door in their faces. Mulder is not buying it and tells Skinner to go around back as Mulder hammers on the door again. Orgel opens the door, telling Mulder that he's bothering him. And as Orgel tries to close the door again, Mulder tries to force his way in, and a shot goes off, blasting through the door, smashing the overhead light, and narrowly missing Mulder. Skinner bursts in through the back. Inside are a few men, one of which grabs Orgel and holds him as a hostage. And as Skinner tries to be the hero, he's cold-cocked from behind by another man. Mulder crashes through the front door and follows the men who flee, taking shots at Mulder. He catches one of the men, but the others pile into a car with Orgel and speed off. Back in the house, Skinner is not doing so well. I know, there's a lot. Skinner's veins are purple and raised, his vision is blurry, and he's in obvious distress. We cut to commercial. All right, Mike, that's our first action sequence. It's about 10 minutes in. What do you think?
I like it. I like as ridiculous as it is, the fact that Mulder pushes Skinner aside and says, I got this. This is how Scully and I do shit, without warrants, and we just kind of force our way into people's homes.
Yeah, you go around
it's
back.
It's fun. You go around back. Let me handle this, sir.
You don't want to see what's about to happen here, sir.
You don't want to see what you've been signing off on for the last 5 years.
I'd actually prefer if you waited in the car.
Skinner, when he gets them back under his umbrella, he's like, I'm going to have to rein you two in. I can't do this anymore. But I wanted to ask you, did you notice anything about the music?
I didn't notice anything about the music. What should I have?
Well,
Jungle
not
drums?
necessarily. Not necessarily. No. For the eagle-eared listener, people would recognize this is recycled movie soundtrack for most of this episode, if not all of it. So it is a lot more orchestral, a lot more intense.
Okay.
They're all movements from the score of the film.
Well, Mark Snow must have done the music for the movie, right?
I'm thinking he got sick or something. Oh, yeah, he did the music for the movie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he got sick or he couldn't work on this one or something, because these are definitely tracks from the movie.
Well, but they could easily be like, you know what? We spent a lot of money on Mark to do these really awesome bits. Where could we maybe slide him into the regular episodes, recycle them? Nobody's going to notice except for this guy, Mike, about 30 years from now.
About 30 years from now, this idiot doing a podcast. What's a podcast? No,
What's a poopcast? What?
No, I think it fits the episode because I think this episode is very dramatic, very intense.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought it was interesting. That's just a note.
That is a very interesting note. Yeah. After the commercial, Mulder returns with his prisoner who doesn't speak English. It sounds Arabic. Skinner finds the man's diplomatic passport and then elects to let the man go. Okay. Sidebar, Your Honor.
Yes.
Diplomatic immunity. Of course, Mike, I am imagining your first reaction to Skinner's decision to release the Tunisian would be, what the F, man? He just participated in the kidnapping of a prominent American citizen, and he was armed with a pistol. But apparently, this would be protocol. Once the diplomat's credentials have been
you're
confirmed,
not allowed to touch him.
Well, you have to release him.
Yeah.
It's the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, and it dictates he must be released after you've confirmed who he is. However, Mike, I think Skinner was incredibly hasty here, especially given that this guy is basically their only lead so far. I mean, what if the passport was a fake?
I would at least bring him in for questioning.
Yeah. Fuck you, you're a diplomat. I don't believe your credentials, and I'll get somebody from your embassy to vouch for you.
Yeah. I don't think you're supposed to go, oh, shit, he's got a passport and he's got credentials. Okay, bye. Let me call you a cab.
I'm sorry to have inconvenienced you, sir. Here's your pistol back.
I think the time frame with which you have to release him is probably a little bit longer than that. not from like the second you put your hands on him.
He was at the scene of a crime. I'm sorry, before I let you go, I have to ask, are you going to do any more crimes this evening? Because
he fired at me, but I think he should go. It's fine. Protocol.
That's right. At least, listen, he didn't hit you. If he did,
That's
then
true.
we're having a completely different conversation. But he shot to miss because he didn't want to. He didn't want to mess up his diplomatic status.
He was just being polite.
He's basically Canadian,
pretty much. That's the nice way to say, "Please don't come in this house. I'm going to shoot upwards towards the sky, break my own light, which I'll have to pay for instead of hitting you."
Well, you could make a request to the Tunisian embassy. See if maybe they'll cover the cost.
He puts in a request, a work order. I had to say no. They were trying to break into my house.
The Jelster is not going to be making any requests for anything ever again. Spoiler. No. What were your thoughts when the diplomatic passport reveal and release happened? Did you think that this was warranted? Were you like, what the F?
Well, I mean, absolutely. It's like, what the F? But in TV world, I've learned to just go, whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do. Especially in the X-Files.
For that reason. Yeah.
Well, he's definitely going to do it. I mean, they did it in 731. Or no. The one before that. Nisei, where they were chasing the Japanese diplomat. And Mulder gets his ass kicked. They bring him to the station, and Skinner's like, you got to let him go. It's like, okay, well, they've done this before.
The station.
True. But Skinner was already here for this one, so he just let him go.
Listen,
didn't have to take him to the station.
We're going to jump the queue for you on this one because I'm here. I could be persuaded with a bit of logic that Skinner doesn't want to bother wasting his time on an interrogation, that he wants to be out there doing stuff. He knows there's a timeline.
Yeah.
I just think that's a bit much to just give this guy away, though. I mean, and why are they the only ones working on this? He's got a whole friggin' FBI, and it's just the three of them doing this.
I don't know. That is the harder part to believe about this because Skinner doesn't necessarily believe Mulder and Scully at this point. Mm-hmm. So wouldn't he try to get the FBI involved because that's who he trusts. That's who he works for.
He's a rules guy.
Yeah. So the fact that he's going along with them right now and he still chooses not to do nothing after this, I don't buy it.
Yeah, me too. Well, we're going to cut back to St. Catherine's Hospital at 1 a.m. Scully is walking with Dr. Plant. She's following up on Skinner, who she suggests might be poisoned. Dr. Plant reveals no one's processed Skinner's samples yet. But as Scully looks at the vial of Skinner's blood, something about it catches her attention. She wonders if he's sure they haven't been processed yet. What is she seeing? And as best I can figure, she's looking at goo at the bottom of the vial of blood. It's not just strictly blood in there. It's not the typical red paint she's used to seeing. It's a bit more nuanced. It's the best I can make out. What were your feelings?
Yeah. There is some sort of dark substance at the bottom. It's hard for me to know because, I mean, I don't know if, I don't know because
It's
sometimes
subtle.
I've seen,
It's very subtle.
I've seen other test tubes and blood vials that have stuff in them for whatever reason, chemicals, agents. So we're only left to speculate that that's what she's looking at.
It must be. Well, you're going to have to wait to find out as we cut back to the Gelser's house, focusing on a picture of Dr. Orgel receiving an award, the camera tracking through his office, Mulder looking through files, a lot of files. A cop wanders over, expressing some misgivings about Mulder going through Dr. Orgel's private property. Mulder's more concerned about Dr. Orgel's person, and giving a final once-over of the mismatch of files spread hither and yon, he spies another photo, Dr. Orgel standing next to Senator Richard Matheson.
Oh my God. Haven't seen him in years.
In 2 seasons, my goodness.
Good Lord.
Well, let's cut back to Scully at the hospital, who is processing Skinner's blood sample in a fancy 1999 Windows PC. She and Dr. Plant review the results. It's pure carbon, which is confusing to them both, especially as it shouldn't be working as a poison. But as they watch, the two of them see the carbon molecules multiplying. They zoom in only to see that it's not carbon at all. They look like little machines. Damn.
I like this. I like it. It's good. It's a good effect. They show it, and it's just creepy enough. I like it.
Yeah, I agree with that. We have a dramatic fade out as we move to Senator Matheson's estate at 4 a.m. The clock is catching up to the other end of the 24-hour period. Senator joins Mulder, wearing a sexy bathrobe. Mulder presents the senator with the photos of himself and Dr. Orgel, and Mulder has figured out where the photo was taken.
It was taken only 3 days ago. It's of you and Dr. Kenneth Orgel holding a Senate resolution, SR 819, I think it's called. What is that?
A funding bill. What is this all about?
A friend of mine is going to die because of SR 819. I don't know how. I don't even know why. But I'm betting you do.
What are you talking about?
I don't even really know yet. All I have are a few pieces. A Tunisian diplomat, this Dr. Kenneth Orgel, this health bill, SR 819, all leading up to a plot to kill an assistant director of the FBI. Does that make sense?
The bill you refer to will provide money and supplies to the World Health Organization, medical technology to third world countries. I have aided you in the past with information, Fox, and advice, which right now is to leave here at once and never again suggest to anyone my involvement in any such dark intrigue. Am I understood?
This man may die. He may only have a few hours to live.
My intention is to save lives, Fox, but I can't save his. Good night, Fox. Drive safely.
It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
And with that, Mulder leaves. Okay, so this is our first reintroduction of Senator Matheson. He is quite a bit different than we have seen before. What do you think of this character?
Well, they don't waste any time. As soon as soon as he turns on Mulder in the slightest, it's like, okay, he's working for the bad guys now. So whether or not he's doing it on purpose, he's not going to be our friend in this episode. So I didn't care for this interaction. At least in the first couple times we saw him, he was, he's always been a little bit shady, but
he's a bit cryptic.
He's been helpful, in as far as it goes. But yeah, this one paints him in a different light.
Well, he's definitely looking out for himself, I think. That's the impression I get. But yeah, I guess we're helped by the fact that we've never really known him as a character.
Mm-hmm. And that's another
he's had
thing.
some, he's been used obviously for a very specific reason, but now that he is actually potentially implicated in the conspiracy that's happening here, I guess we see his true colors that, he's out for number one. I want to save people, but I can't save him. Sure.
Yeah. Piece of shit.
Piece of shit. We cut to a parking garage. The Tunisian diplomat, Alexander Lazareg, is on his way in, driving a fancy black town car. Skinner follows him in his less fancy car. The camera swings over the town car, but Alexander is nowhere to be seen. Skinner takes the opportunity to look at his purple mottled veins in the rearview mirror. It does not look good. Suddenly, a gunshot blasts through the windshield. Skinner dodges out of the way. It's Lazareg, who walks over, looking to finish the job. As he gets to the driver's door, Skinner appears, gun at the ready. Lazareg dodges as Skinner fires 2 shots and bolts out of the car to chase Lazareg. Before we go on, one of my favorite gripes. As Skinner leaves the car, you can clearly see the slide lock back on his pistol, which usually happens when you fired the last round out of the pistol. Well.
Yeah. I was wondering if you'd catch that.
So, has Skinner killed 13 other people before getting here?
No, he only keeps 2 bullets in his chamber.
FBI regs, man. 2 in the chamber. That's it. But he does reload. He does reload somewhere between this moment and when he goes to clear the rest of the parking lot, though.
He does. He does, yeah.
Yeah, because his pistol's fine when we see him next.
That's
he starts
true.
to clear the parking garage, looking for Lazareg with his pistol at the ready. His loaded pistol is ready.
Mm-hmm.
But we see from Skinner's point of view his blurry vision and pained expression that he is not in good shape at all. From across the parking garage, we see Skinner at a distance. Lazareg is watching, and he takes the opportunity to come out of hiding and end Skinner. Suddenly, a car careens out of nowhere, plowing into Lazareg and driving it away. Skinner cannot get a look at the driver, and he slowly collapses in pain, slamming into a car on his way down and setting off its car alarm, which brings absolutely nobody to his attention because that's how car alarms work. We fade to commercial.
Did you notice his gun when he fell to the ground?
Was it racked back again?
It was back right. One more time. Continuity.
On the goof side.
It's like the growing cigarette in Unusual Suspects. I don't know if you've paid attention to that, but there's...
Yeah, it's a good one. Yep. That's why you have people. That's their one job.
Yep.
Well, back at the hospital, Scully continues analyzing Skinner's samples. The legend tells us it's 6:14 a.m. with 15 hours and 21 minutes remaining.
Oh, no.
Tired Scully is looking through a microscope, and we see what she sees. A horde of black particles multiplying next to healthy cells. It doesn't bode well.
It's getting crowded in there.
It looks pretty thick, as it were. She confers with Dr. Plant. The carbon's not just reproducing, it's multiplying and then solidifying in an orderly fashion. Dr. Plant agrees, saying it's building a heart attack. I like that. A very simple way of describing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just then, an overly attentive nurse barges in, letting them know about Skinner having been brought into DC General, having been found in a parking garage. I mean, can you imagine that actually happens? It's like, oh, hey, are you working on someone named Skinner? Funny coincidence.
Yeah. It was an easy way to get us over here.
It was. We're going to cut over there in the midst of a high-risk surgery. Doctors scrubbed in gowns, waiting to do something radical to save Skinner's life. Dr. Cabrera, our favorite trauma surgeon, she's there. She decides we'll take the left arm first as the next step in saving Skinner's life. Scully arrives, unmasked, ungowned, in the sterile operating theater. Hell of a doctor. She introduces herself to the interest of absolutely no one. Scully continues to pull rank, offering little in the way of proof, but with a pull down of her mask, Dr. Cabrera appears to relent. I gotta say, I didn't really buy this scene.
No.
I don't think that's how doctors work. I think doctors are like, no, we're going to do it this way. It's in the manual.
I'm an FBI agent and a doctor. Oh, well, then I defer to you.
Well, he's your guy. You can take off his arm because that's what you're going to need to do.
Scully's just like, hatchet.
Oh, I've always wanted to do this.
Getting back at Skinner.
I need a really sharp scalpel. So our next scene shows Skinner being wheeled away with Scully. Things are looking dire for the AD. Skinner has a few flashbacks. Boxing match, his run-in with Dr. Orgel, a car plowing into Lazareg in the parking lot. He can't put the pieces together. The orderlies wheel him away. All right, it's the next day, 8:58 a.m. Skinner's secretary arrives to his office, only to find Mulder rifling through Skinner's desk. And there's a career-ending decision right there. He's looking for anything that relates to SR 819, and he can't get into a locked drawer. He finds the mail that the secretary brought in, including a courier envelope that catches his interest. He tears it open, looking inside. Over at the hospital, Scully's now in fashionable burgundy scrubs, looking over Skinner's chart. Skinner is stable, but it's not good. Skinner's blood is a weapon against his body.
Well, can you fight it?
We don't know what it is. I mean, the best that we can do is keep lasering his arteries open. But it's only going to be a matter of time before we lose. I mean, it's building walls in his vessels faster than we can tear them down, and we just don't have the technology to combat it.
Maybe we do.
What is this?
I found this with Skinner's morning mail. He was doing a security check on a Senate bill for violation of trade laws involving sensitive technology.
Yeah, but this is just a routine procedure, Mulder. The FBI does dozens of these a year.
No, this bill was going to vote in the Senate. All it was waiting on was Skinner's review and an analysis by Dr. Kenneth Orgel.
You're saying that Dr. Orgel poisoned Skinner in order to cover up his analysis?
No, Orgel didn't poison anybody. Orgel came to the FBI to tell Skinner what he knew, that there was a gross violation of export laws involving new technology.
New technology.
You know what that means?
Well, I think I might.
And that's what makes this a mythology episode, apparently.
Oh boy.
That one line.
That's all it needs.
Am I wrong?
I mean, in a way, yeah. I guess that makes it mythology for some reason, but never included.
Yeah. I think I would like to have a short diverging conversation about the nanotechnology that's at play here. Because I'm not sure I get it. I mean, I get what they're trying to suggest, that it's in his blood. It can replicate itself to make these walls that can stop the blood flow, and that later on we'll see that our villain can dial it up or dial it down. He can make it more blocking or less blocking, and this makes pain. But what is the motivating action here? Like,
goal?
Why? Yeah, because they want to take out Skinner or put him on the sidelines so that he can't do the security review.
Pretty much. That's essentially what I'm getting.
I don't even know. That's like ostensibly it's supposed to send.
They don't cover it very well. It gets extremely up in the air in terms of what the role is, why they poisoned Skinner, and why Krychek. Spoiler.
Oh, you've done it.
Why he's doing this. So it's, I don't know. This is one of my biggest issues with the episode. It's just you can't get a clear sense of what's happening.
Ultimately, if you get to
or I'm just an idiot.
I don't think so, because I don't get it either. I think the takeaway we're supposed to get is that this has been some elaborate plot for Krychek to demonstrate his domination over Skinner. It's like, I can push the button at any time is how he ends it.
And I'll have something to say about that later.
Yeah. That suggests to me this whole business, of the entire plot has been for nothing. Like he's trying to keep Skinner alive, ultimately. While Skinner is going through his machinations, Krychek goes out of his way to stop Skinner from being killed. So,
right.
Which is weird because I'm guessing the Tunisians are Krychek's guys, but maybe they're not.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same
Chat,
page.
feel free to chime in because I don't know.
It is not clear. Well, that phone that you heard ringing is in fact Skinner's phone. And the orderly that's there brings it over to them saying, hey, can somebody answer this? And Mulder does. It's the scrambled voice again, telling them to give up. Mulder figures out that it's somebody who must know Skinner is there at the hospital. And he goes looking for this guy. We got to what appears to be a vintage 90s Palm Pilot, the words of the voice scrambler visible on it, a gloved hand writing them. Mulder enters, looking around, and sees a long-haired figure who looks out of place. The figure sees him and starts to amble away, but that is enough for Mulder to scream, "Federal agent, stop right there!" and give chase. The two barrel down a stairwell. Entering a parking garage, Mulder with his gun drawn, fluorescent lights flicker, and Mulder draws down on a hapless nurse who walks by without warning. Scanning through the cars, suddenly one of them burns out of the lot, but it's not enough to deter Mulder, who runs up the stairs to cut him off. We hear the sound of a car crash. Mulder arrives at the ticket wicket only to see that the speeding car did not want to wait for the car ahead, rear-ending it, but the driver is nowhere to be seen. Ooh. All right, so action set piece number 2. What do we think of that one?
Good. Top-notch X-Files chase, but it wouldn't be complete without Mulder prematurely calling out his rank and then forcing the chase to happen. So, of course, he couldn't just calmly walk up to the guy.
Yeah.
He has to
I'm surprised he didn't take
yell
a few
down
shots
the
in
hall.
hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Stop
will
right
shoot,
there.
so help me.
Yes.
I don't know. That's the only part. It's exciting, but it's unnecessary in terms of logic.
Fair.
You wait till he starts running away, then you scream at him.
Well, he is excitable, Mulder, well known for his excitement.
Yes.
It's now later in the day. Senator Matheson is driving. He takes a call on his car phone. A raspy voice tells him that a new threat has emerged concerning the senator's bill. But Matheson isn't swayed by the raspy threats, to which Mr. Raspy tells him that Dr. Orgel believes the raspy man. Where is Orgel? The raspy long-haired man tells Matheson where he can find him. So did you get from this conversation that Matheson and the raspy long-haired man, a.k.a. Krychek, know each other, have had words before?
Part of me thinks that he doesn't know who's talking to him.
Mm-hmm. Who is this? What do you want?
It's like a hostage situation. He's got something on him that's going to ruin him, and he's an unwilling participant in this whole thing. That's what I'm perceiving from Senator Matheson and this scene. Again, no one knows.
No one knows. Just past noon in the FBI car impound lot, a technician is going over what they found in the car. The car was part of a fleet that serves the diplomatic corps. This dude has found a couple of human hairs from an expensive wig, but more interestingly, he found particulate in the tire treads. PCBs saturated in clay of a level that you would have seen in the 1970s. Maybe a demo site or maybe an old power plant, per se. Mulder jangles the vial of PCBs as if it's a crucial clue. And then, of course, we cut to an old power plant, Matheson pulling up in his government car. He creaks his way into the door and is attacked by pigeons. Fly away, because we need a little action, damn it.
Is this a John Woo film?
I don't know.
Classic John Woo right there.
Yeah. Well, he wanders through, ostensibly looking for the gentleman. He finds a heavy metal door and walks inside. A body lies on a metal rack illuminated by light. The body cries out as if, is somebody there? It's Orgel, who looks about as good as Skinner does, with the same bulbous purple veins. He goes on and on about how he didn't say anything as Matheson releases him, while above them in the rafters we see the raspy long-haired man holding a device. And as Orgel protests his innocence, he is racked with pain as Matheson steps back. And we can see on the raspy man's device that he has control over the nanobots in Orgel's bloodstream, and he pumps up the volume on them until Orgel howls so strongly with pain that we must flee to commercial. Well, that's a hell of a thing.
That's one hell of a way to go.
All right, so now we know that there is a wireless, one would say, communication between this little Palm Pilot and the nanobots in Orgel.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So if we put Skinner in a Faraday cage, although
Skinner in a what?
A Faraday cage, it's no signals can come in and out.
Oh,
but
okay.
I guess the nanobots are there messing them up. They still need to know the frequency or code or whatever that's going to direct the nanobots to,
Pretty much
die off and go away.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we return to Skinner in the hospital bed. He has just under 4 hours remaining. Scully arrives, suggesting that he should try a radical procedure called therapeutic plasmapheresis, filtering out all the bad stuff from the blood in his body. He doesn't really have much of a choice, so he says okay. He takes the moment to offer her and Mulder an apology. Their quest should also have been his quest. He's got nothing to show for himself. He's always played it safe, never took a side. Despite Scully suggesting that he's been a great ally, he laments that he could have been a better one. And she takes his hand, giving him a giant erection. I mean, giving him a flashback to an encounter with Dr. Orgel, who took his wrist.
You took the bait. I was going to say something when she was pulling up his shirt earlier, but I didn't. I chose not to. But no, that's great. That's funny.
Yeah. Come on. It's us. He remembers he's seen the raspy long-haired man who also had a beard. He's been following Skinner, and he'll be on the surveillance tape. Well, we cut to Mulder arriving at the power plant just before 6 p.m. And I asked you, Mike, how did he know? How did he figure out the power
He
plant?
just knew this is the only one in the area.
That's right. Where all the PCBs are.
Yep.
Mulder sees the other government car and knows something's afoot. Entering the plant, he draws his gun and looks around, keeping a wary eye on those pigeons. He also spies the heavy metal door and wanders over, moving inside. But it's just Matheson now, looking over the empty metal rack. Dr. Orgel, long gone. I suppose the raspy-haired man is also gone, too. Matheson reveals that Orgel is dead, and again tells Mulder to drop it. And after a little roughhousing, Mulder gets Matheson to start talking.
Tell me what you know, Senator. This is about SR-819, isn't it? What the hell did they put in, Skinner?
I'm sure you already have some idea, Fox.
It's the same technology that SR-819 will export.
Technology that the world believes is purely theoretical.
Nanotechnology. Microscopic, atom-sized machines. Machines can be stopped.
Your friend is already dead.
I don't believe that.
If you pursue this, Fox, they will kill you.
Not before I expose you and your role in this.
My role? I am a victim here. Don't you understand that? I'm fighting for my life.
I will stop this!
It's too late, Fox. It's too late!
All right, so nanotechnology, nanobots, a hot topic in the 90s, but yeah, very, very theoretical. Still theoretical to this day, actually, but probably gave Elizabeth...
We're almost there.
Well, ask Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos. She'd tell you that we're right here.
She'd lie about it, that's for sure.
Demonstrated in a court of law. Of course, how Mulder gets to nanotechnology is, of course, just a big old leap of Mulder's superpower, but not unreasonable, given that we'd imagine he and Scully surely shared notes on what she's discovered about the stuff in Skinner's blood. Your thoughts? I mean, is it reasonable?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think.
As if any of the rest of this episode is reasonable.
Yeah.
So sure.
It makes sense enough.
I just look at it like, wait a second. SR-819 is going to export this technology?
Sure. Why not?
And how do you hide this in a bill? I mean, it's some of the most public communication that's out there is legislation. I mean, nobody actually reads it, but, it's publicly accessible.
Maybe they named it something special so they can export it and get it out of here, and no one would be the wiser.
If it's being exported in its current form, i.e. you could, slap it in somebody's blood and then turn up the volume and they die, I could see maybe... No, I can't see any application for that other than the assassination trade. I mean,
right.
I don't understand the whole Senate plot line and what... it's doing there and how the senator is
this episode would have done so much better to dial it back in scale.
Yeah.
Like someone has developed this. Skinner's been infected for whatever reason.
Yes.
And just keep it localized. Keep it not as big. Which is a common theme with the X-Files. They go too big sometimes.
They do go too big. I think it's a couple things. They needed Senator Matheson. At least they were probably looking in season 6 for an opportunity to dump him as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided they were going to do it here. And they were going to write him in, which meant there had to be a Senate angle somewhere.
Right.
And the bill before committee, that's as Senate as it gets, I suppose. But doesn't add anything to the episode. Nothing at all, actually. And in fact, it just confuses it.
It adds confusion.
It adds confusion.
A healthy dose of confusion.
Yes, it sounds highfalutin. All right. Well, we're back at the hospital now, Mike. It's just past 9:30. Time is up from A.D. Skinner. We pick up where we found him at the open, his veins distended, his heart flatlining, Dr. Cabrera letting him go, his face being covered up with a sheet. The camera glances over, and we see a shadowy form turn down the volume on his handheld device. And with a gasp under the sheet, Skinner wakes from the dead, his vitals returning to normal. Skinner glances over to see the long-haired Shaggy Man looking over ominously at him, and then, obscured briefly by a passing cart, the Shaggy Man is gone.
How did he do that? I just want to see we see how dramatic it is. He's there, the cart passes, he's gone. I want to see the other angle where he just darts down the hall before Skinner can see.
He's miming it beside the cart. He's just sort of scrunched down as the cart is going along. He's looking at the person pushing the cart going, just keep
shh. Yeah, just, shh.
Shh. Don't make me infect you with carbon.
Man, what it would be to live in a movie or a TV show. You could get away with all this shit. You could do cool entrances and exits that have no logic whatsoever. Here we are living in the real world.
I know. It's so boring in the real world. Shall we wrap it up, Mike? Is it time?
I'd say so.
Okay. It's our first denouement 3 weeks later at the FBI HQ. Scully and Mulder are catching up with Skinner, who reassure him that whatever he was infected with appears to be dormant, and his recovery is being hailed as a miracle. Well, it certainly wasn't anything to do with Dr. Cabrera, that's for sure. Mulder relates that the man was visible on the security camera footage, handing over some grainy photos, but Skinner, looking like nothing at all has happened to him, cannot identify him. Finally, SR-819 was withdrawn at committee without explanation. Mulder spells out a few other tidbits. What was the motive of the man? To poison Skinner to prevent him from investigating SR-819? If so, why call him and taunt him? It's like he is part of our conversation right now, Mike.
Right.
He drove government vehicles and he killed one of his own to save Skinner. Yeah. Mulder wants some authority to investigate further, but despite lamenting previously about being a better ally, Skinner declines, telling him to go back and slum it up with A.D. Kirsch. And then we have our second denouement. In a parking garage, Skinner is heading to his car, getting inside, but he is not alone. The Shaggy Man, no longer Shaggy, is waiting in the back seat. Skinner was expecting him to show up. The man intones that he can push the button any time, which only angers Skinner. What's this about? Krychek. To which Alex Krychek, absent for dozens of episodes, makes his dramatic return, leaning forward into a sliver of light. All in good time, he says, and then leaves the car. Credits.
Creditos. Okay, so enjoyable episode. Well, we're just going to go right into the final thoughts.
We're just going to go right into it.
I did want to say one
thing. Okay.
Skinner, I don't buy this at the end. I don't. His immediate backpedaling to what he said to Scully in the hospital. No, that's too much. It's too Skinner. It's like Scully in season 1 Shapes. A werewolf comes out of the bathroom and knocks her down, and she's like, the mountain lion in the back.
Must have been that.
Come on. Like, it's smacking you over the face. You're gonna say all that to Scully and then walk it back immediately.
I got one for you that maybe explains that. I don't like it.
I get that he's at the beck and call of Krychek at this point. He can't do
Krychek.
anything.
He knows he can't evolve them.
But it's just...
Oh, it's terrible. I hate it. But yeah, it is... It's the bait and switch of he's going to be a part of their little team now. You know, if he survives, he's going to be grateful to them and they're going to all fight crime together. But at the end, he turns into good old Skinner, you know, unreliable Skinner.
Unreliable,
It's a big letdown for them. But
anyway, so there are a lot of things I like in this episode. It's serious with maybe with a capital S and a capital R, Andrew. But more than that, it's a nice return to form. And I don't know if that's objective to say. Like, it doesn't make the episode better, but you're certainly like, finally. And you appreciate it on that level, maybe just a little bit more. So it gets some unfair points there with me, but at the same time, it's a fun episode by itself. I think, like we just spoke a few minutes ago, I think it needs to dial back how big it is and just be less confusing. If they could just explain exactly what they were going for, or if I could call Chris Carter right now and be like, please explain this to me. This is my one question to you.
Can you just tease it out a little bit? Yeah.
I think it would be better. I'm not opposed to the Senate stuff. I just need to know exactly what's going on because I just don't get it. So to me, it's just like Krychek's back and he's fucking with Skinner. That's pretty much all I need to know.
Yeah.
He's been a rogue agent in the mythology since season 3 when he was, you know, almost assassinated by CSM. So I believe he's got his own plans, but I just need to know what those are and what's happening. Yeah. Fun fact, this doesn't come back until the end of season 8. So it obviously means nothing for the series.
The writers got it in their back pocket.
This is nothing. So anytime you want to just hinder Skinner, you can just throw this in there. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's a fun episode. I enjoy it. Music on point because we've heard it before. Good stuff. Enjoyable. Okay.
Well, here we go. Back into some dark and mysterious X-Files with an action-packed episode. Do I have complaints? Yes, of course. It's not like it's perfect or anything, but by and large, I liked it, Mike. Interspersed with all of our favorite bits and pieces of what works in the X-Files. Investigating, running, shooting, bodies piling up, and our agents running around at a fever pitch trying to figure out stuff they'll never get answers to. In other words, your classic X-Files. I will pick up on only one thing. The substance Skinner was poisoned with, the nanobots, whatever they are present in his bloodstream. The evidence is right there, but the plot just seems to walk away from it like it's no big deal. We leave the episode with him under threat from Krychek. He can push the button at any time. But surely we have a sample of the bot in his blood that they can wrestle the ground to figure out how it works, right? Where it came from? I mean, maybe that'll happen later. If I were Mulder, I'd be taking it straight to the lone gunman. But we don't get that scene because the writers want us to have Krychek holding the sword of Damocles over Skinner's head. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
Let's just see how it goes, episode. You got us out of a comedy rut, and I thank you for your service.
See, even you gave it points for that.
Even I gave it points for that, exactly.
So it isn't really fair. It's a good episode. I do appreciate the drama
not the
of
worst.
It. No, not at all. And I think everyone in this episode, for the most part, acts how I would believe them to act. So aside from my gripe about Skinner in the end, yeah, good stuff. My only other fix for the episode is they shot Krychek a little too much. They would have done better with some better shadows earlier on because you can totally tell it's him.
Well, when he's talking on the phone to Senator Matheson, you can tell it's him.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised they didn't use the voice scrambler for that too.
I think that would have just been like, shit, he's back. That would have been a killer reveal. So one, take out Skinner asking him by name what he wants. Take that out. That split second before he leans forward in the car. If they had just done that and they had hit his face throughout the episode a little bit better, that would have been like, oh yeah, okay, that was awesome.
They wouldn't even have needed him to show up to be shot. You know, they would just have the body double for the whole episode.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit more fun. But whatever.
I mean, I try and make sense of Krychek's involvement in the episode, like how he is doing what he's doing, and more importantly, why he's doing what he's doing. And I don't think I can, like he's clearly got access to the technology and government cars and information about people's movements. And he's got an agenda, but I'm not sure whether he's working on his own or whether he's working for somebody.
Yeah.
I would guess he's working on his own.
My instinct is that he's been on his own since season 3. When CSM turned on him, he became this kind of rogue agent to do whatever he wants. And he spent the next 2 years sticking it to the syndicate. Aside from being rehired and kind of burying the hatchet towards the end of season 5, he's been doing his own thing. So I don't have any reason to believe that he's 100% with the syndicate right now. So I do believe he's got his own little plans.
Well, none of it is well explained.
No,
that is, as we
doesn't
said,
matter.
That's the major problem of this episode. Yeah, I mean, you're not meant to look up the skirt of this episode too much, for fear of what you might see. So, do we want to read our one listener comment for this episode?
Please do, sir.
All right, Liza M says that SR-819 is amazing, with little asterisks beside it, which makes me wonder if she means amazing, or is she being? No, it's Liza. I think
she really likes it.
Such a tense, well-constructed, standalone story that uses every tiny, usually overlooked detail to its advantage. I saw this the first time it aired when reliable spoilers were impossible to find, and it was just plausible that Skinner might actually die. And the Krychek reveal, OMG. It might have literally knocked me off the couch. Kids today don't know what they're missing.
That's true.
Your words.
This is, now that I think about it, this is the second I wish they had waited with Krychek of the show for me.
Yeah.
First being his killing of the tram operator in Ascension. I think that would have been just the perfect time to show him as the bad guy. Instead of the previous episodes where, he's revealed to be the bad guy.
You and I both have our one crystallizing moment in the show that we constantly hang around our neck. It's the albatross around our neck. For you, it's that scene with Krychek and the reveal that wasn't. For me, it's the water fountain in the Hand Everlitz that goes around the wrong way, and they just walk past it as a plot hook. The hills will die on one day.
Someday.
Well, I think that's the end of the episode. You're all very patient for letting us natter on about SR-819. As is tradition, Mike, would you like the final word?
I would. Everyone, please, especially after 2020 and being around COVID, be careful who you let touch you, because you could be getting infected with nanobots that are controlled by a very outdated Palm Pilot. Be careful out there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the Syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.